Tabitha is back and the mysteries and questions of From just keep getting deeper, and episode 4 has left us with more questions than ever. From shocking revelations like the dummy's name
Jasper belonged to Christopher,
to unexpected twists like Fatima licking blood.
That girl is freaky!
This episode is a game changer. Welcome to this video. My name is Question from Being Premiere, and let's begin. So this episode is titled There and Back Again, and what a fitting name, which is both Victor's exploring the past and Tabitha returning to From. This is also the subtitle for J.R.R. Tolkien, The Hobbit. So episode 4 begins right where it left us, with the arrival of the ambulance into the mysterious tree and the welcoming crows. There's a lot of similarities to the first episode of the first season. Even the crow shot is really similar to that one with Tabitha, but this time she's arriving with strangers and not her family. What I find really interesting, and I'm not sure if you noticed, is that it's day during this scene, but night when they're in the town. It's like From exists outside of time, or maybe time zones. But the episode wastes no time in building up the tension. We see Jim's house where Ethan stumbles upon Victor's drawings. I imagine this were left behind when Tabitha was analyzing them with Jade back in season 2. We're talking about a potential glimpse into Victor's past, showing him with his mom and sister Eloise. But here's where it gets really creepy and interesting. There's this shadowy figure. Is this Victor's dad, or are we getting our first look at the big bad of From? We see the shadowy figure in Miranda's painting, so maybe it's this? But normally in family drawings, you draw everyone in the family, but we know Victor's drawings have never had his dad except this one. But it's different. So it's really interesting how Ethan is seeing this. The creator and writers are saying, hey, this is going to be important, but how and why? Then boom, the phone rings. It's supposedly Thomas, Jim and Tabitha's son. We know this is not really Thomas, and it's the town playing his twisted games again, using the phone manipulation to mess with Jim and now Ethan.
That's not very nice!
The interesting side of this is how they knew Tabitha was on her way before anyone else. Maybe the crows are like the communicators.
But they're not your children anymore.
What do you mean by that?
Meanwhile, over at Colony House, we got Nikki clean up some blood. It's like a metaphor for this whole episode, trying to clean up one mess while new ones keep popping up. This connects to what Donna says, like,
Why can't they leave us alone?
we even got this tense exchange between Nikki and Bacta about the dead crow. And this connects to the scene where Tilly is worried. The moment she wanted to talk about it, Elgin sees the kimono lady. It's like the town doesn't want anyone to know about Fatima's fate and what's really going on with her. Even the crow in the last episode. And speaking about Fatima, Marielle's checking up on her and her pregnancy, and everything seems fine on the surface. Like this normal scene is setting us up for one of the episode's biggest shockers later on.
Freaky?
Yeah, freaky.
We're constantly bouncing between different characters and locations and different situations, so this breakdown is gonna be like that. It's like a puzzle where every piece raises more questions than it answers, and it moves so quickly like there's no room to take it all in or analyze what's really going on. And that's what keeps us coming back for more, isn't it? A huge aspect of this is Victor and Sarah exploring Victor's old home. And oh boy, this scene is filled with nostalgia but also so much sadness. Victor's dropping details left and right about his past. He talks about playing in this house during the day,
we pretended that we were home again.
pretending to be home again, but at night everyone had to hide. And we know there were no talisman back then, as Boyd found them later on. This is giving us some information into the early days of From. But here's where it gets really heavy.
There's that word again, heavy.
Victor reveals that his mother and sister died, like Nathan, and ouch. And then he says, except I didn't murder them. This is both hilarious, but it shows how Victor doesn't know how to measure his words.
My mother too, but they died.
Our ambulance crew is getting a crash course in From 101 as well as a twisted geography. They're driving in circles, the GPS is useless, and Tabitha is trying to convince them to keep moving forward. She knows she's about to die as well. It's like a terrifying game of red light, green light, where stopping means dead, and she knows this. But back in the town, we got Boyd and Randall on Monster Watch. Randall suddenly all about teamwork, which is suspicious, but he drops this cryptic line about seeing things Boyd have seen. Seems like Randall, Julie, and Marielle shared some messed up experiences that we're yet to fully understand. Julie said that in episode 2, how she was scared of what she might become.
I'm scared of what that might mean.
And later in this episode, when she was speaking with Ethan. Another one of those nice and beautiful scenes in this episode is Kenny and Christy and Jade heart to heart. Kenny's feeling lost, like everything he was fighting for is gone. It's a raw and human moment in the middle of all this crazy episode. Then Jade comes in, you guys want to hear something crazy. In From, that's like saying want to hear something Tuesday. Everything's crazy here, Jade, because in this town, even the insane stories might hold the key to understanding this whole mystery. We got Kenny, Christy, and Jade close around that fire after Christy bird trap accident. We actually get some BTS images in Christy, the actress Chloe Instagram page, but Jade's talking about that pilgrim he saw, the one drinking blood from a skull, and that detail about the rod through the pilgrim's eye, but does it change anything? Jade says how Tianchen found that creepy notebook with the symbol, and Kenny is trying to comfort Jade as well, reminding him of Tianchen, kindness, her love for the people who has helped her the most. But Jade, we also see how he's still struggling, his loss, how the town continues to mess with his mind. Now we're in episode 4 and we have no answers on what he saw in the caves. Like, really? This episode is like a pressure cooker, slowly building up tension from all sides. We're getting new information, more mysteries, and character development all at once, in action after action. So returning to one of my favorite plot lines this episode, and that is Victor and Sarah. He's providing important details and clues about the night that everyone died. So picture this, little Victor hiding the root cellar that we saw back in season 2. Well, Christopher is bringing the destruction and whatever happened that night. We know that this is the night going to save the children and was killed. He says this in season 2 to Tabitha.
I didn't come out until morning.
However, when he finally emerged, it's a scene straight out of a nightmare. He sees bodies everywhere, and that's when he meets the boy in white. We have seen this boy in white before in important moments, but learning he was Victor's only friend for years is interesting on what he revealed to Victor during this time. This is important as it was something brought from season 1 episode 4 when they showed this original scene.
But wait, there's more!
The boy in white tells Victor to bury precious objects instead of the bodies because there's so many. It would have been so impactful and hurtful for Victor to do this, so it's understandable. Meanwhile, Boyd and Randall are on Monster Watch. Randall's giving us a play-by-play of the monster's normal routine. The nurse by the glass, and the swing setter. But here's the most important aspect. They're not following their normal patterns. Something has changed. And in From, change is never good news. They have a plan in place as we see in this episode. Now something interesting again, these creatures have a schedule. Randall says, these things are creatures of habit, brings a whole new meaning. And he's not wrong. We're talking about patterns from unpredictable monsters.
Interesting.
And here's a twist. On this particular night, the routines are off. The monsters are not where they're supposed to be, not doing what they usually do. It's a sign that something big is happening. This whole routine business raised so many questions. Are the monsters sentient? Are they following some kind of rules? And most importantly, who or what is controlling these routines? The fact that the monsters have these patterns suggests there's more method to their madness. It's not just random, there's a system, a structure to the way they act and behave. And now that system is changing. It's like the town is evolving, adapting. The more they go on, the more harder it is. Victor even said how it has not snowed before. This small detail about the monsters' routines could be the key to understanding the bigger picture of what's really going on in this town. Back in the ambulance, Tabitha's going full panic mode, trying to get them to understand the danger they're in. It's frustrating.
Here, the party's here. Stop here.
It's frustrating for Tabitha and to us even. When they finally stop, all hell breaks loose. We got Boy racing to help, Ethan running out, screaming for his mom,
No, hey!
and the monster playing dead in the road. It's a perfect storm of chaos and danger.
It's about to go down.
And just when you think it cannot get any worse, Acosta handcuffed Tabitha. Bad timing. The tension that's been building so far just explodes into the next moments. First, we got the dead monster in the road. It's like the world's deadliest speed bump, perfectly placed to make the ambulance stop. They know humans cannot resist checking on a dead body in the road. It's like they're using humanity against them. The plan works, the monsters begin their trap, and it's pure chaos. Acosta, trying to be the hero, starts firing wildly, and Nikki gets shot. The monster also killed the paramedics. Something that I find really interesting is how the monster calls the others. This whole episode feels like a deadly game of dominoes, one event triggering another deadly move. All of this happens in the blink of an eye. I feel like the speed of everything that happens is all part of the monster's strategy. They don't give anyone time to think, to plan. It's all instinct and chaos, which plays right into the monster's plan. And it plays into how Acosta shot Nikki by accident. Now we discover in this episode, and episode 1 of this season, how they're not just mindless killing machines. They can plan, coordinate, and break human nature. They even know how the talisman work. Really interesting.
Sweetie, it doesn't work that way.
I imagine all the monster talking and planning everything, and then hey, you're gonna stay in the floor, laying down. It's so funny. This whole episode shows that the game is changing and that the monsters are improving their strategy. But it leaves us with this question: if they can pull off something like this, what else are they capable of? So what we got, this absolute madhouse situation, Boy's trying to be the hero, racing to rescue Tabitha and the others. But before that, we need to talk about Jim for a second. He's been through a lot from the previous episode, thinking that his wife was dead, and then bam, there she is, in the middle of this monster mosh pit. The look on his face is like he's seen a ghost, which in a way, he has. It's a mix of shock, joy, and many questions because, let's face it, this reunion is happening in the worst possible moment. We got this attempt to get everyone to safety. They're running, screaming, and the monsters are closing in. And in the middle of it all, Tabitha's still handcuffed. And Randall doesn't just sit this one out. He's actually trying to help. He grabs the toolbox, ready to be the hero, but then he starts hallucinating the cicadas. This moment is so important because it shows how the town can mess with your head, as we have seen. And then we have Boy yelling for the keys. And man, the tension in this scene and episode is thick. He's desperate to save Tabitha, but that monster nurse, she's like a creepy gatekeeper. You cannot save them all. And you know what's coming, right? The sacrifice. Boy's gotta make a choice, and it's a terrible one. Does he save Randall, or does he leave him to the monsters, or save Tabitha and Henry? He decides to save Tabitha and Henry and drives off in the ambulance for his colony house, leaving Randall surrounded by those creatures. Boy, don't just leave me, you piece of... You know the rest. I see it as a mix of anger and betrayal. Those unanswered questions about Randall's fate is going to have us all excited for the next episode. I will discuss spoilers at the end. He managed to get back to the ambulance and drive off, but not without paying a price. When Boy's in the kitchen talking to Donna, he's shaken, he's confused on protecting the town, on finding answers. In that line, I'm trying to save everybody. It's like a way to understand his thoughts. He was not able to save Tian Shen. Now Nikki's dead, and Randall was left behind, even when he sees Tabitha in that ambulance. What the hell is going on? And as we can see here, leaving Randall is affecting him, and he wants to go back there to save him. But he knows Randall is, well, lost. And then things go from bad to worse. Nikki's shot, Marielle is desperately trying to save her, and you can feel the panic rising in Colony House. It's like the town itself is bleeding. And Boy's reaction to Acosta, his anger, his accusations, is misdirected. It's like he's lashing out, trying to find someone to blame for this nightmare of events. And that line from him, something scares you, you start shooting, huh? And he just starts breaking down. And then Donna's breakdown. Why is this happening? Why cannot they leave us alone? It's the cry of every Fromville resident. That desire to an end to the pain and suffering that all of them are experiencing. And Boyd, he doesn't have any answers. And Donna's words, I'm so scared. They're raw. I really wanted this moment to be extended a little bit, but yes, the town is really breaking them. They took that personally. It's a powerful scene, and it shows us how From can make those quiet moments of despair and turn them into something really devastating. And one of those moments is Julie and Ethan. It's one of those quiet moments in From that's packed with a whole lot of emotion. They're alone in the house, waiting for their parents to come back, and you can feel the fear, the doubt in his voice. Ethan's question, what if they don't come back? It's heartbreaking. It's like he's already sensing the danger, the possibility of loss. And here comes Julie trying to be strong, trying to explain to him. But you can tell she's scared too. Then Ethan asks her the question, what happened to you? Finally, Ethan asking the right questions. So remember, Randall said that death is not the worst thing that can happen in Fromville. Well, this scene shows exactly what is worse. Is the psychological trauma, the visions, the memories. They're what truly haunt these characters. What breaks them from the inside out. Now Julie's trying to hide it, to say that she's okay, but Ethan, he sees through her facade. He knows something's wrong in his words. You know, I'm not a baby anymore. You can tell me things. They're so important. And I really felt that this is another reminder that love, those family bonds, they can be a source of power in Fromville. But let's get into that scene with Victor and Sarah in the fort because it's interesting. Victor's talking about Christopher, that friend of his. He was the one who made everyone laugh, but then he changed. He told this to Jade back.
He changed.
And we know how Christopher is a symbol of what the town can do to you, similar to Abby. And that symbol Christopher started seeing is the same one that's been haunting Jade. The same one drawing the caves, so it's all connected, but how and why? And then Victor mentions Jasper, the name of the dummy. It's a flashback and it's a connection to Victor's past trauma, but how he thinks Jasper can tell him why everything happened, why his mother and sister died, why he's still trapped in this nightmare. I don't think Victor's memories are true. It's like his trauma, his time alone in that cellar, those visions of the boy in white, they have messed with his mind. I'm betting Jasper never talked. I'm sure it was Christopher talking to someone else, and Victor is mixing it, blending memories like a nice margarita. But it's from messing with our expectations and making us question what's real and what's not. And then Victor screams. That fear is so sad, and Sarah is starting to realize that Victor's connection to the town is darker and maybe even more dangerous than she thought. But this is where the storyline takes a really creepy turn, and I'm hooked. You know, Sarah's been through a lot too. She's carrying the weight of her past actions, those dark actions, that connection to the boy in white, similar to Jade in the last episode. So when Victor says he needs her because he doesn't want to be alone, it's a moment of vulnerability. And her response, why do you need me? Remember, she has been pushed to the side and doesn't know her place in this crazy town. And this is where Victor says something that really gets me. I mean, that line is so beautiful but sad. You're the scariest person here, so he won't scare you. It's a moment of dark humor in a way, but it also shows Victor's own fear, his isolation, his belief that Sarah, with her darkness, is the only one who can truly understand what he's about to face. It's like they're finding connection in each other's darkness, a shared understanding that might be the key to their survival. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this storyline goes. As we can see here, Victor is on a mission to remember, to unlock those buried memories from his past. He's convinced that Jasper, that creepy dummy as we know is in the caves, is the one that he has answers. Let's see when he goes there. Moving into the scene at Colony House is disturbing, and it's making me really think everything about Fatima. Nikki's body is brought inside after she dies, and Fatima asks to be alone with Nikki's body. That's a red flag, and you know what happens next? That scene we've been talking about, Fatima licking the blood from Nikki. It's not just weird, it's horrifying. So yes, we know Fatima has no baby. A lot of fans are seeing those Ame-Onna theories, the Japanese folklore about the rain woman who steals children, who licks water from her hands like a wild animal. It's like Fatima is mirroring the same behavior. I don't think Fatima herself is turning into a monster, but that maybe her baby, the one she's carrying. What if that monster, what if it's a Kekai, that childbirth demon, and he's speeding up her, driving her to do those unsettling things? But then we cut to Randall. His face is all messed up, the angry look. Man, it's like that reminder that the town horrors, they're not just physical. And this is the main reason of why people are scared of. Now, spoiler alert. So we know Randall doesn't die. We see him in images of episodes ahead, and he's looking with things in his face, so he's good. Now moving into another thing, and that is Elgin, because his storyline is taking a seriously creepy turn. He's still having those visions of the lady in the kimono, and it's like she's calling out to him, help me, please. I think this monster is manipulating Elgin. I have no doubt. It's an interesting moment and it makes you wonder, what does she want? A victim of the town, or is she the mother of the baby that Tabitha has? Also, hashtag I love you Tilly. And speaking of rethinking things, that reunion between Jim and Tabitha is a huge moment of emotions. Relief, joy, disbelief, Tabitha realizing that she's still trapped in the town. Her words, I thought this was our only chance to go home. They're heartbreaking. It's like she's speaking for all of the characters, for all of us who are watching. That desperate desire for escape, for a return to normal. It just adds more to how incredible the episode is. But this episode was intense, holy moly, amazing, I have to say. But episode 5, the light of the day, I don't have the promo because there's no more footage and they have not released anything to the press about upcoming episodes. If this changes, I will do a separate video on that promo. But the episode 5 title is The Light of Day. It suggests hope, a new beginning. But in Fromville, even the daylight can be terrifying. We got Tabitha trying to adjust to her new surroundings, and it's not gonna be welcoming. We see an image in the diner with Boyd and a new resident, so maybe we're going to have the first town meeting, yes! And we will continue that storyline about Victor. Now real quick, let's go ahead and discuss something that we're going to see in the future episodes, including episode 6 titled Scar Tissue. Fatima and Ellis make a big decision about their pregnancy. Boyd fears for the future of his family. Tensions rise in the Matthews house. Randall opens up to Marielle about his fears, so we know he doesn't die. Now episode 7 of season 3 is titled This Fragile Lives. The edge begins to fray as concerns about Fatima's pregnancy deepen. Jade follows the clue trail into the forest. Julie and Randall seek a bit of normalcy. And episode 8 is titled Thresholds. Accusations start flying and truth come to light in the aftermath of a tragedy. Victor struggles to recover long-buried memories about the town past. Julie and Ethan search for answers about the mysterious ruins in the woods. Now we don't have a lot of information for episode 9 or 10, but it's titled Revelations. Here are some of the images. But wow, that was an incredible episode. That's the breakdown and the ending of this episode. Randall is not dead. Hashtag Tilly, I love you. That's the breakdown and ending explain of this episode. Thank you again for all the incredible support you've been giving the channel. I love this series. I love this show. I love the characters, and thank you for the bottom of my heart. My name is Christian from the Premiere, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, one.